Welcome to the Advancement Centre, and once again, welcome to the world of magic and miracles. As we elevate ourselves once again to where we can't define, but to a place that's way beyond everything in the imagination, we can feel a movement that's not there normally. Because as our interaction starts, so does our elevation. We're going to go a little bit further than we've been before, and that's expected. But as we go past all the limitations, you'll feel them bubble up and attempt to grab you. So now, all we have to do is sit back and relax, allow the connection, and watch what happens. With lots of news, lots of things to talk about, but in general, it's basically connecting and having a conversation about nothing. In that conversation about nothing, you'll feel a rise in many energies you haven't felt before. You'll feel wave in and out, and you'll feel nothing that you've felt before. The reason for this will come to us later on. But right now, we're all together for a very, very good reason. I can assure you that reason is something you've been waiting for many, many thousands of years. It's that time when the special mystical flow that follows the opening of a golden age actually enters our world. And that mystical flow is something that you cannot define, but you can feel it because I said the word. That mystical flow is what is about to change the whole structure of every part of you and every part of everything around you. It is not defined, but it's been listed in the history books for thousands of years. And it was predicted by many different special people. But now it's here. And it has all the qualities of everything that was promised. But you have no idea what that was unless you go and feel what you're not supposed to feel. And that's the perfection of a total newness that has nothing to do with yesterday. The perfection of a flow that's made up of something that you knew was coming, but it's not made up of anything you know about. We prepared you with all the energies as we entered different zones. We moved through all sorts of places. We went to those familiar scenes of the beach with the beautiful white sand and the palm trees, of all the different places that you went when you were a child. And now that has opened the possibility of something new. As that possibility opened, you now find that it's far more than a possibility. It is total change that's showing itself everywhere in the world. But today, it comes through in a pure mystical form that will be with you forever. That mystical form is something that I can't describe, that you'll never be able to describe either, and that people will be trying to describe for the rest of their lives. until they give up and just accept its presence. Because it defies description, it has more effect. That's why we took you through the zone of confusion, so that at least you would stop for a moment and let something come in. And now we're there, and it's growing within you as we speak. All the things I can talk about will mean very little, but it'll keep your attention while the process that is not a process actually forms up in your reality. We have unlimited possibilities, but the brain has heard that forever and said, I can find a way around that. I'll find a way to limit anything. It's now trying to tell you that on your jelly and peanut butter sandwich, you can't taste the peanut butter. It won't be able to tell you for long, because as soon as you take the second bite, you'll say, that's not correct. I can taste it all. I can feel it all. I have knowing that I didn't have before. I have a personality that wasn't there before. I have a future, and I don't even care about the past. And I can see the future, and I can make it happen. And as you send that impulse through the world, it harmonizes it into such a format that everything is mellow but powerful. Every part of you is confident and able to accept whatever energies it needs to do whatever it needs. And we even have little projects through the scientific base to prove that there's something different that we can feel, that actually makes us feel okay, that actually cancels out all the stuff that we've been trained to live by. And so feeling healthy doesn't come into it. It's only that mystical flow that's perfect. All the other stuff disappears. It's all taken care of. There is nothing I can tell you that explains it properly. But if you look at what happens when you let clean water flow over any surface, it gradually becomes clean. And there's no trace of what was there. And it disappears into nowhere with the water. This is what's happening with that mystical flow. It's not taking anything, it's melting, absorbing, converting, whatever you like. So that the resultant is you have clean water, you have a clean surface, you have everything clean, you have your origin and every part of it as your life. So when you listen to anything, it won't be the same. When you see anything, it won't be the same. Because what you're transmitting is that mystical flow that clears and cleans everything and does not leave a trace. So now you're in for a beautiful time that you can't measure, because the only way you measured a beautiful time was comparison to what you did before. You'll only know what it's like after the event. Magic and miracles doesn't rely on what you think. It doesn't rely on what you desire. But what it can rely on is the general feeling of well-being, the general outcome that you feel that you're never going to let go. And so the magic appears because you're never going to let go of the fact that it has to be perfect. It has to be better than the picture you've got, but it doesn't have to be the same. And you'll never let it go. The magic will appear. Events will come and go. And all of a sudden, out of somewhere, you'll look around and say, wow, that happened. A little different to what I thought, but really good. That's the whole content of that mystical flow. And that's the simplicity of the power you have to actually look to the future, put the past and the present in a box and leave it there, and you'll never see it again. Because the future will just keep flowing over and over and over and take you past the realities of logic. Past where your brain says, oh, well, if it's not now, there's nothing. But in fact, now is just gone. The future keeps flowing in. And you stay ahead just like you look ahead when you're driving a car. If you look down too close, you'll run into something. You keep looking ahead, you won't run into anything. And if you look behind for too long, you'll most definitely run into something. There are no rules, but there are tendencies that give you an indicator of what to do in all circumstances. So as you see everything around you in a state right now, and you look past it at what the state's going to be, in the near future or the long future, that's what will happen. And the mystical flow will keep you solid and never ever bring back the thoughts of the past. If they appear, it means you've just gone into a space that you don't go into. And you don't have to get out of it, you just go, oops, sorry. It's like catching somebody with their clothes half on. You go, oops, sorry, and off you go. And it's as clear as that. You don't impose on areas, even by mistake. So as you move along from this point, you won't even know what a lot of words mean. A lot of the words that you used in the past, because they have no meaning. Fixing, healing, repairing, they don't mean anything. You're just putting them to normal, letting them fix themselves. They don't need to heal, they just don't need to be off balance. And so everything that's being provided to you is to bring everything into a balance which is better than the balance that you know. When we talk about something that's totally new, we think it's one thing. But in fact, today, you're going into everything that's totally new. Anything and everything that you wish to look at is going to be new. Every part of life and how you work, how your body works, how the system works, how the universal influences work, are all new. This is the calmness that you were promised. This is where all assistance turns into one flow for you. But you cannot analyze it because it's too complex. It's so complex, it's simple. because it simply is all. And as we experience it, and we experience everything, and we talk to one another, and we feel it, and we know that it's all happened, all we'll be able to talk about is, I can't stop smiling. Wow, that was great. Whoa, look at that. I'm overwhelmed again. And it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And people keep telling one another how brilliant they are. Not how brilliant I am, how brilliant you are. This is the essence of that mystical flow. It's been described by many, many people as many different things. But it doesn't need a description, because in describing it, you actually are describing something else. Because it's more than anything we've ever known, more than anything we'll ever know, and more than that again. We're in the fortunate position of being around at the time when our era actually stops and starts again. And in that restart, it has millions and millions of more things coming in than has ever come in before. And those who transition across the change will actually forget about the first part, rather than telling their stories about the old days. It will all disappear, and we'll all just be walking in amongst one another, understanding one another, no matter what level we're at, what age we are, whether we're dog, cat, bird or being. It'll all be an interaction that is natural. And if we think we need the tools to do that, they'll just arrive. Our ability to assist in this process is going to go up enormously. So understand that the power that's given to you and the gentleness that's given to you in that power is far beyond what you ever could expect. And so it's a little bit like, as you walk around, realize that there's glass all around you. Otherwise you'll start walking through windows. And we don't need to do that until we've got to a point where we can walk through without damaging anything. So the power we have will be out of proportion with the world around us. The precision that we need at times will be a little bit more than what you expect, because your effect on the world and the universe is so high right now that there are a few things that haven't caught up to you. And when you get to the point of being able to walk through a wall and not disturb it, you'll know that everything around you is caught up with you. That's not too far off, and we all know that. But right now, everything you've ever needed to do all that is with you. Don't be careful, be precise. Because if you're careful, it'll knock you over. Go with that flow and don't even think about it. Some of the things that we'll bring to you over the next period of time, we wouldn't have been able to bring to you without today. Because the systems within you are becoming refined by that flow. Refined to the level where you can accept what was impossible last week. And refined to beyond that again. To where you can look at a plant and tell it to be healthy, and it will. And this is everything we knew we were supposed to do. But know that you can do a lot more than what history tells you or what's been suggested. Because as you bring your gifts into the world will be amazed at what you bring. No matter who you are, where you're from, how old you are, or what you think you can do. Those gifts will keep flowing and keep amazing everybody for millennia. And now you can start to feel the flow. It happens by itself, and it flows in, tests you, and you wonder what it is, and then it sort of slows a bit, and then it'll come again. This is a gradual movement that is part of the natural flow of anything in our universe. Some parts you can feel the intensity, some parts you can't. A little bit like the waves, you get the ebb and the flow, but nothing like it. Just a little bit to help you with a description. This mystical flow and the energies that it contains are all one. All the active energies that I talk about are all in there for everyone. No matter what you may feel is necessary, as long as you don't try to direct it, it will happen. As long as your confidence, which is being built by the flow, is maintained, the flow will work. So you have no idea of how to stop the flow. Therefore, you have no idea how to lose confidence. It will just keep building and building and building in everything. And you've noticed even the animals and the birds, the bees, all the little lizards around here and the flies are more confident to come into our field and feel they're not going to get killed because that's disappearing from us. And nothing from today will lead you towards deciding about anything, because it's not a new set of standards. It's not a standard at all. It's a flow that brings the impossible to life. A flow of magic and miracles that only deals with what we've always thought impossible. And after a miracle, you can go back and say, I knew that was going to happen. But before the miracle, you have no idea. So there are many parts of us that don't show at various times. And now they're going to show all the time. Because that flow and the inbuilt confidence that it brings allows you to know the future in a format that is unknown to man at the moment. But that brings with it a confidence that you can't make a mistake, that no matter what you do, it's going to turn out right. Even if what you're focused on explodes, the overall picture is going to turn out right. Everybody's going to be okay. There are no problems. We are actually moving with that mystical flow that cleanses and repairs and dissipates everything that we've ever known before. In that flow, you don't even need an imagination. If you want to go left, you go left. You want to go up, you go up. You want to go down, you go down. You want to sit down, you sit down. They're the simple parts. And as we get into moving ourselves from one place to another, instantly, we'll have the time of our life. We'll start to play tricks on one another. We'll appear and then disappear. We'll go invisible. We'll do all the things that they're now capturing little bits on television. You know, the classic of camera picking up someone being hit by a truck. But there's a being rushes in, drags him out of the road, and it's on the side of the road a second later. That's all our capability. Easy stuff. We don't need to capture it. But the fact that they allowed us to capture some gives us an idea of, wow, that must be normal. Normal, yeah, because it's normally impossible. As we entered that field, without this mystical flow, your mind would go crazy. It would imagine all sorts of things, and it would start you working at things, and you would just really go crazy, and your body would get sick because it would say, oh, that's impossible. You can't do that. And the more you work at it, the sicker you'd get. As I talk about it, and I talk about sick, you really can't comprehend it, because that mystical flow is washing it all out of the road. It's never going to be with us. And as a result, we can just open up and retransmit as much as we want, so that it progresses through the world in a timely fashion, like instantaneously. Came now, it's here for everybody now, because we can retransmit it now. And when we retransmit, there's no time lag. There's no need for us to wait 20 seconds, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years for everybody to catch up. As of today, everybody's got it. So you don't have to worry about the fact that they don't know. They do. You don't have to worry about the fact that, well, somebody's got fixed ideas. They're gone. You don't have to have a control system that says, I have to be careful. You have to be precise. Confusion will actually be washed away almost immediately. And you'll go, I should have been more precise with that. And you will be. And there's no practice. It'll happen in a fraction of a second, just like a young child that runs into the brick wall. Before they bounce off, they're repaired. So now we're into the real world of magic and miracles. And the industry we're going to be working in is magic and miracles. And that's how we advance. Working in any other industry, we can't advance. But Magic and Miracles works with everything, you know. Structural, chemical, industrial, communications, people, things, flying, dying, staying alive, whole lot. And in that industry, it means we are masters in the world we call the universe. So now we can settle and allow ourselves to be the mystical being that came onto this earth to represent themselves with a selected body and a selected, I call it a bag of tricks, that you present out of nowhere at the most unusual times every day of your life. As we move along with this, we'll probably take a lot of care and find it's not necessary. We'll attempt to maintain and find it's not necessary. We'll think, oh, I wouldn't like to lose that. But you can't. It is now you. You are the flow. You are the mystical flow. And now, we'll take a break and let you enjoy the beauty of that mystical flow. And we'll be back in 5 minutes to talk a little more about what's happening today. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm sure you're enjoying your new presence and how a set of words opened up a mystery that's been sitting there for thousands of years. That mystical flow that is you will stay with you no matter what I say. And from here on, we can talk about anything and we won't bother discussing anything. We'll just chat. Because as we discuss, we all have to have a different angle. In the mystical flow, we're all heading in the same direction, not running into one another, all going backwards and forwards, and we don't care. And if you have an opinion, it's not going to go anywhere. Because no one will be around long enough in any 1 second for, to gather anything. There's too much happening, too much movement, too many good things. And everything you look at won't be analysed anymore. It'll just be. So all the efforts to maintain what we've got will actually change into put it the way it's supposed to be. Change its structure. Allow your field to flow through it. It will either fall down and be replaced, or it will become flexible and put itself back to normal. There's a field around us that determines what's solid and what's not. We're on the edge now of making sure that that works all the time in a format where things become flexible when we want them to. So you'll find you'll hide that from yourself for a while. But while you're not looking, things will change to the way they're supposed to be. And the only way they could have got there is to become flexible and reform their structure. The way things become clean. The way everything is comfortable. You'll enjoy the comfort, you'll enjoy the whole lot. But eventually, it'll be like the inquisitive child. You'll watch it happen. And you'll see that it's really the natural way of being. So that mystical flow that you retransmit into everything actually does its job. And it works in so well with your supercomputer that, you don't have to make anything happen. You just keep seeing the future, and you don't have to put a time function on it. And the future can appear almost instantaneously. You see that something is different than what it appears, and it will change. Yeah, people bend spoons. Seems impossible. Everybody has a go at it because they think there's a method. But in fact, it was built around a confidence that they could do it. But now, the confidence is in the flow. Total, unrestricted, unbelievable confidence in everything. So get used to the fact that you don't care. Everything you do is perfect anyway. And you don't have to care because you're a mystical being that only produces balance, perfection, and harmony. And as you try to do anything else, there'll be explosions happen around you. And you'll soon become very precise. It's not so that you learn anything. It's not so that you get things right. It's just the old habit sometimes hangs around, but not in you. The old habit sometimes hangs around the world. You are retransmitting to everything, even the thought forms, even the movements of people, the inflections, the interactions. You're retransmitting into them so that they will be washed away. So in the time that it takes for them to wash away, and that's not in people because people have got it. This is in all the formats in the world. The things that are floating around, the smog, where two people argue, and you walk through it and go, oh, that's terrible. All those things you'll be retransmitting to, and they'll just think about it. But if you're getting a lot of explosions, just realize that, oh, that must be one of the jobs I've got to do. That's to transmit into there, watch them disappear. And you don't have to do it, you just have to know it. As soon as you know something, boom, there it is. It's taken over by the supercomputer, and it just happens. And as you walk around, you'll feel so good because you can feel all this stuff melting away. And you didn't do anything except walk around with a big smile on your face, saying, wow, am I powerful or what? And you don't have to even say a word to anyone. They'll see it, they'll feel it, and that glow that you really enjoy will be with you always. So the process from here is zero. The experience is enormous, and the excitement is beyond belief. And don't be surprised if you are overwhelmed every day for most of the day, because that's the purpose of that mystical flow that is actually coming in and really forming the structure of who you are, so that you are the mystical flow. And now, when we start to play with experiments and things that seemed like they were impossible last week, we'll be so happy to get some success that doesn't follow somebody else's rules. We'll put things together and they'll work. They'll work because we did it, not because it's done in a specific manner to a set of laws. It's like setting the table. Some people lay the table out and it works, and it's perfect. And if you tried to do it yourself, it wouldn't be right. You can't get it to work. But you do it your way, it works. The food's enhanced, the atmosphere's enhanced, everything. It works because you did it. And it's not you doing it your way, it's you did it. You produced it. And you produced it because it was to display a part of you that you hadn't displayed before. And that's one simple thing. You cook a meal and you use the book, and it doesn't turn out the same. You look at the book for 5 minutes, put it away, and go, now, how would I do it? And it works. So from here on, everything, even mechanical, will work because of you. Things will rotate because of you. Things will lift because of you. Everything will work properly because of you. Not because of what you do, because you are that mystical flow. And the energies that are available in there are going to be accessed without you even worrying about them. The fact that you know about them will absolutely amuse you. Well, that happened because I actually, did I think? Or I don't know what I did. But it happened because of me, I know. You won't bother defining. You'll just say, look what I did. Someone else will say, oh, was that you? That's great. And we'll be so interested. And none of us will ask how, because that part of it's gone. Or why. That's gone. This beautiful future is what drives everything. And we're in this beautiful future because we're pushing towards it all the time, and we're looking at it, and we're feeling it, and we're modifying it, and we're leaning to the left or the right, or we're changing that to blue, or we're putting that up there a little bit, and it changes the future. And you do it in your homes. You go around and you move things, that feels better. You've just changed the format of your world and everybody else's, because that art was forgotten, but it's the only part of that mystical being that you are right now in a world that's changing itself to accommodate you. Everything in this world and beyond is changing itself to accommodate you as that mystical flow. Not just a mystical being, a whole lot. So Magic and Miracles is the name of the day. And I don't think there's anything else that we can really offer except Magic and Miracles, because it has no limit. It's active all the time. It's crazy sometimes, beautiful other times, heartbreaking other times, always keeping us beyond alive, keeping the sparkle going in every one of us, and the wonder of open eyes appearing all around us from everyone, not just from children. So now we'll see a big change in the structure of living. We'll see a big change in the structure of offices, workplaces, everything, because people can see that they don't have to walk into a dark hole, be quiet all day, and produce stuff that's useless. They will actually change it. And en masse, you'll find people either won't turn up, or they'll say, well, you'll either have to triple my salary and I'll do 1 hour a week, or you change the whole setup so that I can enjoy being here. Otherwise, I'll do it at home. And I won't do what you want. I'll get the job done. Because the interaction has got nothing to do with hierarchy. It's got nothing to do with who said what. It's to do with an intermingling transmission of the production of a future that you can all see. Not one that's planned, not one that says, I'm a carpenter, or I'm a plumber, therefore I've got to do all this. It says, I'm me. And if I'm going to do plumbing, I'm going to be an expert at it. I'm not going to go to school. I'm going to find what happens to all the stuff that you use, how your system works. Then I'm going to suggest, well, why do you put the pipe there when if it's done here, it's going to work better? Right now, you have to do it because someone in 1923 decided that's how it's supposed to be. And they wrote it in a book. And at that time, they didn't even know that you could run water uphill. And you watch. It's been found in history, you can run water uphill. We can do that. Because we can affect gravity by ourselves, by our group, by our needs. So if this water's supposed to go uphill, it'll go uphill. Nothing is limited. And that's why when they go back in history, they say, how did people do that? It's because the little parts of civilization realized that they could tap in to the future. We're living it. And we're making it. And the future we have is not in the history books. It's not been predicted except in past this date, everything will be different. And that's been predicted many, many times. And we're past the date, we're well past the date, and everything is different, but we still have all the smog around that will disappear very, very quickly. And if you decide it's disappearing now, it's gone. If you walk in to an area that is unsatisfactory, you'll know exactly what to do. It'll either be just transmit something, change something, move something. It won't be as drastic as you think. The simplicity of magic and miracles is the fact that you don't have to do anything. You just wave the magic wand, throw the sparkles, decide, look at it differently, it all happens. So as soon as you go to the fairy tale that tells you about looking through rose-coloured glasses, through the kaleidoscope, through anything, that becomes a reality. Do what Tinkerbell does, change the whole pattern of the world in front of her, that becomes a reality. And it's in accordance with everybody's need, which is quite amazing, isn't it? There's no interaction that doesn't work. And so one of the things that comes out of all of what we're talking about now, you'll be really flush with energy. You'll be really flush with confidence. And the strength you have to continue will be out through the roof. I don't know how to explain it apart from let you feel it. And if we let the energies rise, then we'll all know that it's there. And there's a special movement that allows everything to just fly. And as it flies, it lifts and it takes away all the pressures. And you can all do it. And you don't have to use your hands. See it, feel it, make it happen. We call it our energy field, but it's more than that. It's that universal you taking big hunks of stuff and chucking it everywhere. And go, have a bit of this. And everyone goes, oh, what was that? And you sit back and have a laugh. Because they can all do the same. And I don't know if you remember when you're a child, the great fun of throwing snowballs at one another. When someone does something, it sticks one down your neck or something, and then you start throwing it, and the excitement just goes wild. And the next thing, everybody's doing it. It's like a pillow fight. You're all into it, and then you go and clean up the mess. It doesn't matter, because that excitement is what's important. That elegance of letting go. And that's what you're in permanently. Totally unrestricted brilliance. And every time we see ourselves in the mirror, we'll be amazed because we look different. Every time we walk past the window and you see a reflection, you'll go, who's that? It'll be different. Because it's not necessarily the you that you know. It can be any aspect of you. It might be one that you sent off to do a job. Just like when you're in the classroom and you sent part of yourself off to the beach, which is the major part. And the other bit's just there. This will keep happening to you. You'll see yourself in all sorts of places doing all sorts of things. And that is not to make you miss it, it's to make you be there. You see yourself there, you don't say, oh, I wish I was there. You go, I'm there, shit. Oops, sorry. Wow, I'm there. So there you go. This is what we do to one another. We allow ourselves to be wherever we need to be, simply because of that unbelievable flow that's you. So I'll leave you now with that feeling of the mystical being, the special light, the brilliance, the sparkles, the ability to change the world, and wish you a very happy day on a very special planet. Thank you. Bye.